As the Nintendo Switch continues to get older in age, it seems like some games are starting to disappear off store shelves or become more rare. So in this series, we're going to be breaking down the games that you should be picking up on your Nintendo Switch before they are super rare. Now remember, some of these titles might have already been on previous lists that I've done, but there's new information added in, or there's a heightened sense of, okay guys, you might want to go out there and try to find this game. Now with that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump right into the first game here, and we're starting off with Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. Now we've seen with the Hyrule Warriors games before in the past with Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition that game went super rare once Nintendo announced Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. Now I don't think that there's going to be another Hyrule Warriors game. I think that Koei Tecmo and Nintendo are happy with the two that are on the Nintendo Switch. However, Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity continues to keep its price right around $50 or so. So the market isn't really being drained on it. That means that there's probably not a ton of copies in circulation. Now we know the game sold over 3 million units plus, right around that range. So it has a pretty good amount out there. But once again, that's digital and also physical. And I don't see this game all the time in every store or in stock a lot on Amazon or various places. So it might be a good idea to pick up Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity if you see it in stores, or if you can get a nice good price on a used copy. Now next up, we've got Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. Now Mario is in, boys and girls, and this game has already sold quite a bit, and I think I've talked about it as well, but the difference with this is the fact that we are moving to the next generation when it comes to Nintendo hardware, and these Mario games, because of the Mario movie, all have a heightened emphasis on people picking them up. Now Nintendo probably wants you to go out there and just buy the digital copy because they have it on sale with the Mario Day and the Mario movie and all the Mario stuff they've been doing this year. So I don't think that they're really going to print a lot more of these cartridges out there. Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury has already sold quite a bit, so it's not like it's hard to find, but I do feel that if you can find a good sale on it this year, definitely go out there and grab it, because it has a piece of content on there that you can't buy separately and isn't on digitally with the eShop. So if someday the eShop goes kaput like we saw with the 3DS and the Wii U shops, then that Bowser's Fury is going to be locked to that cartridge and not online anymore for you to play. So I do feel that it's probably a good idea to pick up Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, especially because of that Bowser's Fury on the cartridge. Next up is Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker. Once again, Mario is in, Captain Toad is in with the Mario movie, and this game hasn't really been discounted too much more than what I've been seeing from when it launched. Captain Toad is not a game that you see all the time in stores. It's not always in stock everywhere. Now this might vary based on where you live, but where I'm at, it's around $35 or so for a copy of Captain Toad. So that's quite a price for the game being as old as it is, and it always seems to be in low stock or just not available at a lot of different places. So I wanted to make sure that I included Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker. And honestly, with the Mario movie, Toad had such a pivotal role. I think people are going to be seeking out anything Toad at this point. Now next up is Hollow Knight on the Nintendo Switch. Now this game actually had a discount that I picked it up for a nice $15 at Best Buy. So make sure that you check your local stores, make sure that you check online to see what deals you can get. This is normally a $35 game, and Hollow Knight is one of those games that was printed in not abundance, and it's an incredible game and there's great content. The Switch version actually has a few little extra things added in to the physical version of the game. So if I were you, I would definitely pick up a copy of Hollow Knight, especially with Silk Song coming out in the year 20XX on the Nintendo Switch and all other platforms. When that game drops, you know there's going to be a heightened interest in the game that came out before it. So you want to jump ahead of the curve and go ahead and go pick up Hollow Knight right now at this point, so you don't have to worry about it. It is in stock in various different places, about 35 bucks. If you can get it for cheaper used, go ahead. But if you can find a new copy, pick up that new copy, keep it sealed, and see what happens down the line, because something tells me that some of these indie games out there that didn't have a lot of print are going to end up being worth quite a bit in the future. Next up, another indie darling, Death's Door. This game is around $30. I was once again able to pick it up at Best Buy for a reduced price of $15, so make sure you check around. This was one of those really cool games that mixed a lot of different genres out there, from like Souls and Zelda, and it was an indie darling type of hit. It did extremely well across all the platforms that it's on. It's a fantastic game, and it's put on the cartridge in a limited amount or quantity. I don't see Death's Door a lot in stores whenever I go out, or even online in stock a lot. I was just lucky to run across it at a Best Buy indie game sale, so I decided to take the plunge and pick it up. So it's a fantastic game, but it's also a title, once again, with these indie titles that don't get a lot of print run or syndication. This is kind of like a limited run games type of situation, but I didn't have to wait 2 years to get my game like limited run games usually does. So I was lucky in that sense. So if you already have a copy, go ahead and hold on to it. And if you don't have a copy yet, see if you can find one and see what happens in the future, because I doubt they printed too many of these. There could be just the minimum amount just to get it printed that Nintendo will allow. So 50,000 or 100,000. I don't know exactly what that number is. So check it out. If you can find Death's Door, go ahead and pick it up. Next up is Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp. This is a game that already has been on my radar before in the past. I might have talked about it, but I want to make sure that I re-emphasize it since it's coming out next week as of the time that I'm recording this video, because Advance Wars, if you look at the older GBA games, those ones always go rare. Nintendo delayed this game multiple times at this point. We don't know how many cartridges they're going to print, and we don't know how well this game is going to sell. This is a legacy Nintendo type of title with the Advance Wars series, the Wars series that they've done before, originally with Intelligent Systems, and these games don't traditionally sell incredibly well. And I'm just looking at it from the GBA angle, where those games, the cartridges ended up being rare and expensive. I'm thinking that Nintendo is probably printing the least amount of these they can print in terms of things, and hoping that you pick it up with the digital vouchers, which they already talked about on Twitter, saying, hey, you can get Advance Wars with the digital voucher. So I don't think they're trying to have a large print run for this, and I don't think that the game is going to sell millions of copies physical, at least. I mean, it might hit that when you talk about the digital and the vouchers and everything all combined, but not just physical, in my opinion at least. So if you can pick it up, go ahead. It's already one of those rare type of things that you don't see Nintendo do too often with their legacy IP, bringing it back in this type of way. And just the development history of this game is just fascinating. So something tells me like my alerts are just going off, my spidey sense is just going off with this game left and right. So if you can pick up a copy, you can do it now. At this point, it's $60. I can understand maybe waiting a little bit, maybe getting a discount on it later in the year or next year if there's some type of sale, but don't let it go by for too long before you decide to pick up Advance Wars 1+2. And of course, I'll talk about it again in a future video if anything kind of changes with the game, with the price, and kind of what's going on with scarcity, stock in stores. So we'll definitely bring this game up again. Next up is Tactics Ogre Reborn. This game's been discounted a little bit. It's about $31 from what I can find online, and Square Enix did talk about a lot of their titles, which we're going to go on a roll with Square Enix titles here in just a bit, but Square Enix did mention how a lot of their games did not hit their sales targets. So you know what that means. When you don't hit sales targets and you have physical copies out there and it's expensive to print physical copies, those tend to end up not happening anymore. So I highly recommend, especially for a game as good as Tactics Ogre Reborn, to pick it up right now while it's on sale. It's $31 in places. Sometimes you can get it for cheaper than that. It's a great game. Also, it's a game that Square Enix is just like, all right, we'll just put out the minimum, bam, and then be done with it. I don't think Square Enix is going to print a ton of copies of a classic game like this that's as old as it is being brought back at this point. So I'm pretty sure later down the line, this game is going to be extinct when it comes down to it. And what Square Enix is doing, obviously it looks like Square Enix is retooling and reshaping their whole business structure with what's going on there. So if you can find a nice copy of Tactics Ogre Reborn, see if you can pick it up for a nice price. Now next up is Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion on the Nintendo Switch. This game has started to get discounted a bit. I picked it up full price just because I wanted to support this type of remaster that's done so well, but it is on sale at many places. I've seen it for $30, $40, so it just depends on where you live, what country, everything like that. You can get a good price on it, but this game is very important, and to me, it's important because what the game is about, right? It is the prequel to the Final Fantasy, and I think that with the next game coming out later down the line, this game's very important in that sense with the story. It's a great game as well, but I do think that because of the cartridge and because of what they did with Final Fantasy Crisis Core, that game on the PSP, brand new, is rare-ish. So they already didn't print a lot of those, so I definitely don't think that they're gonna print a lot of this game. Now, it did sell well. From what I understand, it sold well. We saw the Japanese sales, everything was good, so I would expect it to be in low stock in a lot of places. I'm just letting you guys know right now that it's probably going to be a game that Square Enix forgets later down the line once their Final Fantasy VII Remake train starts rolling a bit more. They want people to buy the game digitally, not necessarily physically, so as we go on, those copies get more scarce and scarce, and the digital sales start getting more pushed in your face. That's kind of how they want you to buy the game, is digital, because they get a bigger cut of that compared to physical. So I do feel that Crisis Core, if you could pick it up right now on sale for a good price, want to pick it up, play it before the next Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 comes out, or if you just want to collect it, I think now's not a bad time. And Square Enix, once again, this game could just end up being rare, brand new, like Crisis Core. Although Crisis Core isn't too bad on price, but a brand new copy is expensive on PSP. Next up is Harvest Stella, and that's around $37, and this game is 100% going to be rare, because like the game didn't sell as well as Square Enix would have wanted, and I doubt that they're going to print more physical copies. It's a very unique style of game. It's a brand new IP. It's got like a lot of different things that are kind of put into it that makes it not necessarily the best game out there. It's not like it's a huge, great Metacritic game and it's awesome or anything like that, but it's just a unique concept that I don't see Square Enix following up on anytime soon, and then probably giving up on in the future, because they did talk about how a lot of their games released last year, their AA games, RPGs, just didn't do very well. Harvest Stella probably was included in the whole situation just because I didn't really see it selling at the top of the eShop, didn't really see it on the NPDs, didn't really see it pretty much anywhere when it comes to top sales, Amazon, it just wasn't there. So I'd expect this game to go rare, physically at least, in the future, and it's starting to come down in price at this point. So if you can get it for 30 something bucks, maybe 20 something bucks later in the year, I think that's a good price to pick it up, keep it sealed, and see what happens in the future. Last game here with the Square Enix titles, and last game overall, it's the Dealfield Chronicle. This game has been discounted all the way to about $38 or so. It was a $60 game when it launched last year on the Nintendo Switch, and once again, it's included in the Square Enix lineup of games that didn't necessarily do too well with their AA and everything. And the game is good. It's a solid game. There's a demo, so if you're looking to play it, awesome, but it's another one of those games, Square Enix titles, that's probably not going to get a sequel, probably a game that only got one shipment or two when it comes to Nintendo Switch, and Square Enix is already pushing digital sales with so many of these games. I think they just want to sell out the rest of the physical stock that they have and be done with it, especially with a lot of these games. Like I talked about, Harvest Stella, the Dealfield, stuff like that. So this game to me is one of those titles that keep your eye out. You probably be able to get it for cheaper in Black Friday. They might be $20 sales because it hasn't quite got to that $20 price point yet. It's been on sale for 40, 50, various different prices. This is the lowest that I've seen it so far, but I'm pretty sure if you wait till the end of the year, it might be on sale for like 20 bucks, $25. That'd be the perfect price to pick it up. Or if you really want to play the game, if you feel that it's a good game, you can pick it up now at this point and play it and not feel too burned about paying $38 for it. But I just wanted to bring it up because it is a title that's probably not going to get another print run or two. So that's 10 games that you can pick up now before they go rare. Please make sure you guys check out my previous videos on this topic. I'll have a whole host of them right here on screen for you to watch. Also, link in the description below. What are some other games that you think are going to be rare in the future? Let me know in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next video. Peace.